It is May 14th, 2026. I am exhausted. Emotionally, that is. So that's why we're doing it this way instead of me suffering alone. If you choose to watch this, you can suffer with me. Either I will figure out how to make this all into one video, or it will just be random chunks. I don't know how long I'll be able to record in one go, but I'm going to be live reading Death of the Author by Nady Okorafor, because I just finished reading her other book, Noor, and it's beyond words. It's beyond words. It's bad, and I was warned when I started posting my bafflement about how bad it was. Other people warned me that this one is even worse. And by bad, I mean both just abysmally written, like something you would not be shocked to hear that a 12-year-old had written it, and also just filled with bigotry, including the exact same bigotry that it is claiming to be against. So let's read the inside cover summary thing, because we don't put summaries on the back of books anymore. Not like people want to be able to read that just by picking it up and flipping it over. No, you gotta look on the inside cover. It sounds so good, but the summary of Noor also sounded so good. Disabled, disinclined to marry, and more interested in writing than a lucrative career in medicine or law, Zilu has always felt like the outcast of her large Nigerian family. Then her life is upended at her sister's lavish Caribbean wedding when she's unceremoniously fired from her university job, and, to add insult to injury, her most recent book is rejected by yet another publisher. With her career and dreams crushed in one fell swoop, she decides to write something just for herself. What comes out is nothing like the quiet literary novels that have peppered her unremarkable career. It's a far future epic where androids and AI wage war in the grown-over ruins of human civilization. She calls it Rusted Robots. When Zilu finds the courage to share her strange story, she does not realize she is about to embark on a life-altering journey, one that will catapult her into literary stardom, but also perhaps obliterate everything her book was meant to be. I will refrain from comment. From Chicago to Lagos, I need to look up how you pronounce some of these names. To Lagos, to the outer reaches of space, Zilu's novel will change the future, not only for humanity, but also for the robots who come next. A book within a book that blurs the line between writing and being written, Death of the Author is a masterpiece of metafiction that manages to combine the razor-sharp commentary of Yellowface with the heartfelt humanity of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Surprisingly funny, oh no, deeply poignant, and endlessly discussable. This is at once the tale of a woman on the margins risking everything to be heard, and a testament to the power of storytelling to shape the world as we know it. And I'm already seeing the problems now that I've read her other book. A woman on the margins risking everything to be heard. That's a weird way to say successfully traditionally publishing a book, a thing that you do to make money and get fame, but okay. This book just came out in 2025. Yeah, 2025. And this is the first time I'm reading it, and it will be the last time I'm reading it, most likely, if what I've been warned about is true, and then it's getting donated to my library. Oh boy. Okay, well, I can say it is a scam, but for once I'm glad of that, because there are, let me flip to the back, there's, is that the last chapter? There's 400 something pages in here, but there's also giant margins on all the sides, so I'm fine with that for once, because it means I will have to be subjected to this less. If read Nor, if you would seek to understand my tone of voice right now, my outlook, go read Nor. Same thing by her. Took me less than 24 hours to finish reading it because I only checked it out yesterday. And I finished it like 2 hours ago. Chapter 1. What's the story you want? Honestly, I don't. This isn't dialogue. Huh? Chapter 1. Is this a chapter? It's titled Interview. What's the story you want? Honestly, I don't see it. Even after everything, Zilu will always just be Zilu to me. What you think she is, it's all made up. Life is short. Fortune. Okay, somebody should have done something here. We're on page 1, and we have the word fortune, but it's at the end of the line, even though there's a giant margin there. I'm no longer glad of the scam, because now the word fortune is being split confusingly in half, so I thought it was saying fortune, like 2 different words, but, the text isn't even a nice size to not strain the eyes. I'm really getting sick of these publishers who clearly just want to use as many pages as possible so that they can pretend the story's longer. But then they won't actually do anything with that makes it actually more accessible, such as, increasing the size of the font for people with vision disability that need larger font. Can you hear how tired I am? What you think she is, it's all made up. Life is short. Fortune is fleeting. Fame is just swirling dust. It's people dreaming and perceiving while they say your name like it's some tangible object, but it's not. A name is just a name. A sound. What matters is family. Without family, you're nothing. You're debris tumbling through space. Unseen, unconnected, uncollected, unknown, no matter how famous you are. Alright, okay. Do you mean biological family or does found family count? Some of us were abused. Zilu will always be part of our family. She will always be my sister, no matter what. Oh, it's been rough. The fact that Zilu never really cared about family. Zilu had to do her own thing. Then she'd expect everyone else to deal with her mess. We will always love Zilu. We hang in there for her. She never made it easy, though. My name is Chinyere. It's too late to open Google. Is it? Yeah, because I can't do that without ending the recording, so I'm just going to have to guess how these names are pronounced. And, yeah, my phone... let me see. Let me see if my phone will let me do it. Pronunciation. howtopronounce.com. You can have an actual person read it off, though? Or is it going to be a robot? Because that kind of defeats the purpose. The internet said, let me be as slow as possible. So yes, I was correct. Sorry, kitty. I dropped my phone on the cat. Come back. Come back. It's just a phone. It's okay. So I was correct. Alright. Phone, go back to whatever you were doing. My name is Chinyere. I'm the oldest. That's a year older than Zilu. Though growing up, most assumed she was a lot younger. I'm a cardiovascular surgeon, the chief of surgery at Advent Hospital. I'm just really confused about what's going on now. The chief of surgery at Advent Hospital. I've lived in Chicago all my life. Okay. If you hear me trailing off like that, it's because the cats are doing something suspicious, but they're just playing with a piece of cardboard, so it's fine. I've lived in Chicago all my life and I love it here. I'm married to a wonderful man named Arinze. He's Igbo like me, though both of his parents are Igbo, whereas only one of mine is. What's interesting is that he was born in Chad. Long story. We have 2 sons. Our family is sizable by American standards, so being asked only about my sister will always feel strange. But she's the one everyone is talking about, I guess. She's the one everyone is always talking about now. Whose fault is that? You should all be ashamed of yourselves. The irony no one seems to understand is that Zilo has always been the most unstable of us all. And I'm not talking about her disability. She's not the first person to have a disability. And I acknowledge that society has its biases, but we each move through the world in our own way. We all have a path. Let me tell you a story. ... Okay, so her sister is narrating, even though there was no mention of this in the summary. I don't like how whatever. I don't like... It's not promising. Not after Noor. Some years ago, before all this happened, I was a new mom. Again, why, if the sister is going to be narrating this entire thing, so that it's a story within a story within a story. Hold on, a story within a story within a story within a story. Why isn't that on the summary? I was a new mom. My first son was only 3 months old. I wasn't very happy, I admit. I'm a surgeon, and suddenly I had all these months where I was staying home. My son wasn't sleeping, I wasn't sleeping. My husband was always escaping to work. I wasn't upset with him, though. I'd have done the same if I'd had the chance. Being a woman is tough, especially one who is a mother. We're not all cut out for domesticity, even when we love our children. So... Are we gonna criticize the misogyny? Because we sure as fuck didn't in Noor. In fact, it was misogynistic. It was about 10 p.m. and I was at home with baby Amika. It was raining outside, absolutely pouring, and lightning and thundering. Amika was crying and crying because he was gassy. I was walking up and down the hallway, rocking him and patting his little back. I was so exhausted. My phone buzzed. It was Zilu, and she sounded like a slowed record, slurring her words, barely making sense. Zilu? Is that you? I asked. So annoying. Course it's me. Caller ID. Oh my god, come on. Ever look at your hand and think you have 6 fingers instead of 5? She whispered. Oh, sorry. Ever look at your hand and think you have 6 fingers instead of 5? She whispered. What? Need a ride, Chinyere. Don't trust Uber. The rest of what she said was mainly giggling, snickering, and what sounded like blowing raspberries. This is not promising. It was late. I was alone with an unhappy infant, and now I had to go out and get my sister. We all shared our locations with each other so I could find her. Okay, we've mentioned, this is the second reference to them having multiple siblings, but we're just not being told how many of them there are. So that's just withholding information from us for no reason, and that's kind of irritating. I dressed, bundled up the baby, and went to get her. My BMW is a 2-door. 2 years prior, and this is in parentheses, we hadn't thought we'd have any kids. Funny how life decides certain things for you. What do you mean life decides certain things for you? Are you not using contraception? You are the... Is this going... I don't think we're going to be discussing misogyny in here if this is what we have on page 3. Life decides whether you're having children or not? Does that mean you are not allowed to have fucking contraception the way you're not allowed to ask your husband to take care of your fucking kid? So it took me a few minutes to strap Amika in the back seat. By this time, he was absolutely shrieking, but I stayed focused and got it done. No use in my freaking out, too. Zilu's location took me from Hyde Park all the way past the end of Lakeshore Drive on the north side. I found her in an all-night diner. She was sitting in a booth looking out the window right at me as I pulled up. Even from where I was, I could see that her eyes were glassy and red. Is that your first hint that she's high? Emika was fast asleep. Finally. I gotta say, most of these things that's when I read them and they sound like there's commas, there's actually periods. Emika was fast asleep, period. Finally, period. A lot of these things are just full sentences in and of themselves, or are being treated as such even though there just should be commas. The drive had worked like magic on him, and this would be a trick I'd use to calm him for the next year. I had Zilu to thank for that. Zilu and her Wahala. I was right, where'd I go? I was right in front of the diner, so I opted to leave him in my car, with the heat on, of course. It was below 0 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And I will just gotta say, we're already using pronouns wrong because the last person we just referenced was Zilu, and then we're saying I'm leaving him in the car. But Zilu is not who is being referred to with him, that's Emika, the baby. When I entered the diner, a waitress came right up to me, a short white woman with spiky pink hair. Please say you're here to take that girl home. I am. Oh, thank God. I stepped toward Zilu, and she looked up at me and grinned. She was wearing an Ankara pantsuit. West African wax print cloth was her go-to when it came to fashion. She said she liked the colors and that Ankara cloth always looked like it was trying to go somewhere, whatever that meant. And she had on red heels. It didn't matter. I'm just very annoyed already that the sister is the one narrating, even though that's not mentioned in the summary. So we're just adding on another layer of complexity that's not even mentioned in the summary for no reason. I mean, maybe there will be a good reason for it, but like, this is annoying. Where was that? And she had on red heels. It didn't matter to her that she couldn't walk. Zilu's shoes always had to be fire. Her outfit was pretty nice. That's one thing you can always count on my sister for. When she wants to, which is usually, she can dress to the nines. My sister, she said in our mother's accent. Bawo ni. I rolled my eyes. She reached into her breast pocket and brought out a large overstuffed blunt and a lighter. I heard the waitress, who was standing behind me, gasp as Zilu started trying to light it. Zilu, stop it! I snatched the blunt and the lighter from her hands and grasped the handlebars of her wheelchair. She wasn't drunk, but she was very, very high. Like, you could get high just by sniffing her. I enjoyed my occasional glass of wine, even brandy, but I had control. Zilu, none. I just don't understand why this is not following Zilu's perspective, and why her sister is narrating when her sister wasn't fucking mentioned in the goddamn... Like, did you run out of characters for the summary? Because there's a giant review up at the top you could have shrunk down. Or, this thing called continuing the review to the back, or maybe put it on the entire back of the book. This is my sister, this woman you all know and love. Our ancestors were probably so ashamed this night. I somehow got her in the passenger seat, then I put her chair in the trunk. She was snickering the entire time, like my touch was the most ticklish thing on earth, and I was sweating despite it being freezing. I thought about the recent rain and wondered about black ice. I shoved the thought away. I had to focus. Emika didn't wake up, which was a blessing. I still had her door open when a guy came out of a Mercedes SUV parked he came out of a Mercedes SUV parked beside me. Zilu, come on, where are you going? He was a gorgeous black man and I will note for posterity that the B in black is not being capitalized. In his 20s, wearing a very expensive looking tan suit, but it was all wrinkled up. He didn't look like the kind of guy who normally did wrinkled suits. "You for real?" Zelu shouted. "Go away." "Who is this?" I asked her. "Some guy." "Baby," the guy said, "I've been waiting for you in the freezing cold." "'Cause they kicked you out. Take a hint. Don't want you." "Just give me another chance." He was feet away now, and I turned to face him. "Are you her girlfriend?" he asked me. "I'm her sister." "Oh, thank goodness. Just tell her I want to talk to her." He didn't seem drunk or high or anything, and that worried me. This was clear-headed distress. "She can hear you," I said. "Go away! We're done. It's called a one-night stand," Zelu slurred. "I don't do those," he snapped. "Apparently you do," I said. There's too many people talking here. I said, "Hey, I've got an infant in the car. Can you just quiet down and even better go away? I'm sure you have my sister's number." "I don't. She gave me a fake one. I had to follow her here," he snapped. He stepped closer. "Look, just get out of my way so I can talk some sense into your sister." I didn't move. I had no space to shut the door. He was getting... I thought she was already in the car. He was getting angrier, I could tell. I'd dated a guy when I was in college who... Well, let's just say, this guy's behavior was familiar to me. I wasn't sticking around to let him reach what he was working up to. He was nearly in my face. My baby was in the car. That was it for me. I reached into my pocket, grabbed my tiny canister of pepper spray, unlocked it as I brought it out, and aimed it right in his face. I pressed the button and sprayed the hell out of him. Me? I had carried it in my pocket at night, sometimes during the day, for years. I didn't even know if the shit worked. Still, it had always made me feel a tiny bit safer, but I'd never really imagined I'd use it, that I could bring myself to use it. While he screeched and clawed at his face, Zelu snickered, and the concerned waitress inside was probably already calling the police. I shut the door, ran to the driver's side, got in, and drove off. For several minutes, Zelu and I were silent, except for our coughing. When you pepper spray someone, you have to deal with what you've done, on a smaller scale. In the back seat, Emika hadn't woken up even for all that. None of the fumes reached him, thankfully. I'm just gonna keep saying this until we get anything else. Like, why is this being narrated by the sister when she's not in the summary? "What did you do to him?" I asked my sister. She only shrugged. The incident seemed to have sobered her up. "Fucked him. Was a student from one of my... Ew. What the fuck? Was a student from one of my classes a few semesters ago. Lawyer trying to be a writer. I just got tired of him by the next morning." "And you told him so?" "That's not a question, it's just a statement." "Yeah," she said. "It's funny. Guys like that are so entitled, but even more so when you can't walk. They think you should be so grateful." She giggled. "Polychrome, you want to say hi? If you're just meowing over there?" Nope, she's just meowing at the room. She giggled again, even harder. "That's Zelu. She'll do something, then right after, just let go of it. Zelu puts it all behind her right away. So wrapped up in herself that she doesn't know when she's kicked people out of their sense of normalcy. She'll just leave you there, reeling and wondering why. Maybe that's what you all love about her Maybe that's what you all love so much about her." Okay. Now we're on chapter 2. So the first chapter is 6 pages long. Zelu was thinking about, and chapter 2 starts, and it's only being taken up by half the page because that's how much space they're putting between it and the chapter title, which just to make the book seem bigger. Zelu was thinking about water. Trinidad and Tobago had the sweetest beaches she'd ever seen. They went on for miles and miles with not a human in sight, and the waters were so warm. The day after she'd arrived, she'd gone with her soon-to-be brother-in-law and 3 of his local Trini friends. All of them could swim like fish. but none as well as she, of course. Once she put the elastic bands around her legs and ankles, she moved with power and confidence using her powerful arms, her back, shoulders, and abdominal muscles. She'd been swimming since she was 5. "Oh, it's just something I fell into," she'd tell people. She rarely explained how literal this was. She'd intentionally fallen into the water one day. Her family thought it was an accident, but it was the only way she could prove to anyone, including herself, that she could swim. When the wedding ceremony was over, she planned to go right back to those human-free beaches and swim some more. Preferably alone this time. For now, she endured all the primping, preening, and perfuming of the bridal suite. I would like to have a scene where she's swimming, but I guess we're just going to a wedding instead. What are you kitties doing? "I look hot," Zilu's younger sister Amarachi proclaimed. She did a twirl and a pose in front of the mirror. Amarachi's wedding dress was like something from another planet, and Zilu loved it. She'd been there to help her sister choose it, of course. "Zilu, you are a genius." This is the same problem Martha Wells has, where one character's talking and then another is like doing actions, which includes this kind of thinking. But then we continue with the other person's dialogue. It's just needlessly confusing. Zilu flipped some of her braids back and smirked. Is her entire personality going to be smirking and snickering and giggling? Because I hope not. But I have been warned. Their sisters, Chinyere, the oldest of them all, Bola, the youngest, Uzo, the second youngest, laugh as they perfected their makeup in front of the Okay, I'm just baffled now. Does she at least have a bunch of brothers? Because we were told that this is considered a small family and Americans never ask about more than her younger sister, which... that's weird. Plenty of people. Like, 1, 2... That's 4... She has 3 sisters. It's Zilu, Chinyere, Bola, and Uzo. That's not a lot of kids. Do they have like 5 other brothers? I'm just kind of baffled by that statement that this is considered a big family and nobody ever assumes that she has more than one sister. What? I don't think I know any families that only have 2 children. Like, I think only one of my friends in high school was an only child. That's just a weird thing to state. And then, okay, whatever. Zilu's own dress was buttercup yellow, and it billowed over her wheelchair, making her look somewhat like the flower. She hated it, but this wasn't her day. Whatever her sister wanted, she would do. Still, she snuck 2 thin bracelets made of green Ankara cloth onto her left wrist to maintain her identity. Bola's dress was a soft carnation pink, and Uzo's was a lilac purple. Zilu had to admit, the combination of the colors with her sister's gorgeous Technicolor sci-fi looking wedding dress was stunning. Are we gonna get a description of that Technicolor sci-fi looking wedding dress? Or is that all we're gonna be told? Because, as I said, I read Noor. I just finished reading Noor a few hours ago, and it's not promising. Zilu, want me to help you with your makeup? Bola asked. Nope, Zilu said. Don't need any. You'll be sorry when you see the photos, Uzo said. I know how to pronounce Uzo. Why am I saying it Uzu? I'm thinking of Uryu Ishida because I was making his pit-trapping antlion joke the other day. You'll be sorry when you see the photos, Uzo said, patting her already perfectly mid-sized fro. She'd placed a lavender butterfly pin in it. They'll be all over social media. all over our social media. Meh, I'm not the one getting married. Today isn't about me, and social media can deal with me looking like myself. Zilu radiates an inner beauty that makeup cannot enhance. Don't you know? Chinyere said. They all laughed, and like, okay, good for her for not wearing makeup. I also refuse to wear makeup. Good for her. But also, the thing says that she is disinclined to marry. And I don't think that will hold true, from what I've seen. They all laughed, of course. Chinyere's makeup was flawless and already done. Her sky blue dress was nearly as magnificent as Amarachi's, but okay, I guess there's 4 of them. 5 of them. I can't fucking count. But it was more how she wore it. It was Amarachi's day, but Chinyere was and always would be queen. Well, I think that's a weak excuse for looking plain, Zilu, Amarachi said. You'll be all right, she said, grinning. Huh? Who's she? Okay, these are 2 different paragraphs. Well, I think that's a weak excuse for looking plain, Zilu, Amarachi said. You'll be all right, she said, grinning. Okay, so I guess this is Zilu talking. Marriage isn't my thing, so I don't have to suffer it. But I can have fun watching you. Why didn't we just say Zilu said, grinning, again with the pronouns? This was published after Nor. Pronouns, whatever pronoun you're using refers to the last name spoken. You can't just say Amarachi said and then more dialogue and then she said. You just gotta say Zilu said. This was her naked truth. Marriage had never been in her cards. She enjoyed her freedom and autonomy too much, and she loathed the idea of someone calling her his wife. It just seemed ridiculous. Not that she hadn't had the option. So far, she'd had 2 wonderful men propose to her. One who was named Zilu, just like her, and one named Obi, who had been her creative twin. They'd passionately dated for 3 years, until he got the idea of marriage into his head and ruined everything. Chinyere said. Spare us your lecture, Zilu. Today's a day of marriage. Deal with it. What do you mean the lecture? She's saying you guys are allowed to have all the fun. Their mother, Omoshalewa, came in with a large box. Inside it was a thick orange coral bead necklace and matching earrings. Oh boy, Zilu said. Here we go. The necklace was worth a small fortune. The others gathered around it as their mother put the necklace around Amarachi's neck. Now, that's in all caps, you look like the true princess you are, Omoshalewa said. It totally threw off Amarachi's sci-fi dress. Zilu rolled her eyes, annoyed. Are we gonna get a description of the sci-fi dress? Because I would like to know what the sci-fi dress looks like. What does a Technicolor sci-fi looking dress look like? Do you insert the Batman meme of that like slimy skeleton guy saying, do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? Does it make her look like, I don't know, a robot? What is a sci-fi dress? Technicolor sci-fi dress. This type of coral is the finest, their mother said. Only the most, that's in italics, only the most powerful people in the palace can wear it. Palace? Palace? There's a palace? How rich are these people? Palace? That's not in the fucking summary. It does say her sister's having a lavish Caribbean wedding. Doesn't say anything about a fucking palace. Are they renting a palace and then this necklace comes with the palace as like a show-offy thing and you get to say, oh, only the rich people can wear this, but it's for everybody who rents it? Is this an Airbnb that we're pretending is super fancy? I hope so. Zilu flared her nostrils, fighting to keep her mouth shut. It was a horrible fact. Their mother was indeed a princess from a long, strong line of proud, and useless according to her father, Yoruba royalty. This made Zilu and her sisters also princesses and their brother, Tolu, a prince, something Zilu preferred to never tell anyone, despite her mother insisting they go by princess and prince whenever they visited Omoshalewa's hometown or spent time with their maternal relatives. Being a Nigerian American in Nigeria, and imposing the privilege of royalty on top of that, disgusted Zilu. Well, at least she has the proper disdain for monarchy. Today, her mother was going to be really crazy with it. But what palace? Are they in a palace right now for the wedding? Today, her mother was going to be really crazy with it, which meant there was going to be drama, because their father was from a very proud Igbo family that spat on any idea of an entitled predestination and opted for embracing education and capitalism and the Lord Jesus Christ. And her father, that's a lot going on right now. In her father's family, everyone did their own thing, but it was all for the family. Thus, every single one of her father's siblings had earned a PhD or the equivalent and was wealthy. Rich people? So we're just following around. Okay. Are we going to talk about classism in here? Because we sure as fuck did not in Noor. We didn't even acknowledge the classism in Noor. But, so they are princesses and princes and have a palace on their mother's side, and their father's side of the family is also all rich. Are we going to talk about the classism? It's 36 minutes into this video and we're on page 9. Do we think? Everybody cast your votes. Metaphorically or mentally. I'm gonna say now I don't think we're actually gonna deal with the classism, besides rich people complaining about it. Is rich people complaining about being rich isn't the same as actually being anti-capitalist or thinking classism is bad or doing anything about it. To make a Martha Wells specific comparison, just because the slave owners complain that they don't want to be slave owners, but then they become slave owners happily anyways, doesn't mean they're not slave owners. Okay, if I expect nothing else from this book, I hope that Zilu will just be giving away. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. The fucking summary. So okay. She's been fired from her university job and her new book has been rejected again. And the summary would have you think this is like a disaster, because it is, if you're not from money, which she is. So is this just going to be a book about worshiping rich people and pretending rich people are actually not rich people? With her career and dreams crushed in one fell swoop. But she's a princess whose family apparently owns a palace on her mother's side alone, and then her father's side is a shit ton of rich people. Thus, every single one of her father's siblings, okay, just saying her father's siblings, maybe her father is poor, had earned a PhD or the equivalent and was wealthy. If they'd heard any of this talk of princesses and princes and kings and queens, they'd make sure to loudly point out that it was total bullshit. It's super heavy, Amarachi laughed, adjusting the humongous necklace hanging around her neck. A princess can carry it, her mother said, or their mother said. Remember how Chinyere wore it? I certainly do, Chinyere said. Like a pink-orange tire, Amarachi muttered. "We are royalty," their mother proclaimed. Zilu frowned and looked away. Her eyes fell on her phone. She'd silenced it and put it on the table beside her. For once, she'd completely forgotten about it. Until now. And it was vibrating. Is she noticing it because it started vibrating, or nope? She picked it up and wheeled herself toward the window on the far side of the room. It was her boss, Brittany Burke, head of the university's English department. "Hello?" she answered with a frown. "Hi, Zilu. I know you're in Trinidad. Tobago. Oh, yeah, I get them mixed up. The country is Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm... The country is I can't talk. The country is Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm on the island of Tobago." I just added an R there. "Tobago," she said. She sighed, pushing back her irritation. What did Brittany want? "Hell, I'm surprised I can even reach you. A good international package is part of my phone contract." Heh, smart. Silence. Everything all right?" As Brittany spoke, Zilu gazed out the window, over the hills covered with lush trees and bushes. In the opposite direction, just behind the hotel, was the ocean. Zilu giggled. I just said not too long ago, is her entire personality going to be laughing and giggling and snickering and snorting, and now she's giggling again, so... Is her entire personality going to be laughter of various descriptions? Zilu giggled because it was all she could do not to smash her phone on the windowsill and potentially mess up her sister's big day. There was a ringing in her ears, but it wasn't loud enough to drown out this woman's fucking voice spewing bile all the way from the United fucking States. That's a lot of sudden swearing out of nowhere when she's giggling. It was surreal, but not surprising. Adjuncting was a shit job that treated you like shit. Her creative writing students always deeply annoyed her, but this semester had been especially brutal. She'd come to every class with a false smile plastered on her face and fantasies of smacking each of them upside the head with a copy of Infinite Jest. The hardcover, of course. This semester she'd had a class full of creative writing PhD students who'd all convinced themselves and one another that the best type of storytelling was plotless, self-indulgent, and full of whiny characters who lived mostly in their minds. You know what? I'm actually slightly lightheaded, so I'm just gonna stop reading this, and this'll just be all the commentary because this is too slow of a way to read this book, and I don't want it to take long because... she's mocking the idea that the best type of storytelling is plotless, self-indulgent, and full of whiny characters who live mostly in their heads. Is that meant to be ironic? From what I read in Noir, and what people have warned me about this book, I don't think it's ironic. So, yeah, I'm lightheaded, so this whole let's live read it, it's not happening. So, yeah, this'll be the only video. Where'd my bookmark go? Okay. Bye. You don't actually have to suffer through this with me, because I'm not doing this. Goodbye.